Okay, thank you. So once again, hi everyone. How's everyone doing? Yeah, tired. It's been a long day. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this quick and fun. Let's begin. Wait, let me just go back. So today we're gonna be talking about the right and wrong ways to use AI for your mental wellness, because these days we all have been using AI for having emotional conversations and to talk through personal decisions. So let's get into it. Firstly, a little bit introduction about myself. So once again, hi everyone. My name is Bhagwan. I'm a freshman here at TNI in Bangkok, and my major is data science and AI. I also create content on Instagram, and I would love to chat with and get to know y'all. So feel free to connect with me on socials. And let's get started. Today we're gonna look at how we get so attached with AI chatbots, and then we're going to look at how do these chatbots work under the hood, because if we can understand them better, we can interact with them better as well. And lastly, just trying to put everything into practice. So before I start yapping, I want y'all to scan this QR code and just answer 2 questions. Has everyone scanned already? Okay. Is everyone here? Did everyone scan yet? Okay. 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 Daily, rarely. Never means that you use AI for other tasks like productivity or like maybe your studies or in your work, but you don't use it for personal problems at all. All right, let's move to the next question. When you're stressed or overwhelmed, what do you usually want to hear? Do you want validation, or do you want someone to sit through the problem with you or and work through the solution? Right. So, I mean, obviously, we might need validation for like some time, maybe like a few minutes when something has happened. But in the end, we all just want to solve the problem. And even if that might mean that another person has to give us a reality check and it might be hard, but in the end, that's what we all want, right? These days, what happens is, okay, picture this. It's 2 a.m. and you're lying in bed overthinking about it because you've had a long, stressful day. And now everyone else is sleeping, but your favorite AI chatbot is not. So what do? You pull up your phone and you start texting it. You tell it everything about, whatever has happened throughout the day, what is bothering you. You tell it your secrets, your anxieties, and whether we realize it or not, AI is becoming our confidant, our friend, and for some people, even a therapist. But I want you all to pause and ask yourselves this one question, that is this actually healthy for our long-term mental well-being or not? To answer this properly, we'll have to look at how do these chatbots work and why do we get so attached to them. This isn't something new. In 1966, which was 60 years ago, Joseph Weizenbaum created a simple chatbot named Eliza. He was an MIT researcher and professor. He created the simple chatbot. It wasn't smart. It simply rephrased whatever the user said. Like as you can see on the screen, the human said, "Well, my boyfriend made me come here." Lisa said, "Oh, your boyfriend made you come here?" Human said, "He says I'm depressed much of the time." Elisa said, "I'm sorry to hear you're depressed." You see, it's basic pattern matching, right? But Weizenbaum was shocked to find out that people, including his own secretary, who knew how the code worked, developed attachments to Elisa. This is now called the Elisa effect. And by the way, if anything is interesting and you want to dive deeper into it, I've added all the links here. I can send it at the end, I can send it in the chat as well. But if you just search this phrase, you'll be able to find it. So why is it that despite knowing that it's just a machine or an algorithm and it doesn't empathize like humans do, it doesn't truly understand us, why do we still get attached to it? There are a couple of reasons. So first is proximity. Now let's think about when you have conversations with another human. It takes a lot of effort. You have to schedule, you have to wait for the other person. And there's only a limited time that you can talk to someone else. But with AI, that's not the case because it's in your phone, anywhere, anytime, you can talk to it. Secondly, when you share something personal with another human, it's really hard and really uncomfortable. But with AI, no, because it feels really easy disclosing your feelings to a screen because it feels like it's not going to judge us at all. And lastly, validation. So whenever you talk to AI, it only validates you more and more. It's always going to agree with you first. Even if it might challenge you later on, it always agrees with you first. And that validation gives you a hit of dopamine that your brain really loves. And over time, as you talk more and more and more with chatbots, you develop that attachment with it. But that's not all. There's also something called anthropomorphism. That it's basically a tendency of humans to project human intentions and human traits onto non human things. It's a long word for a simple idea. What it means is when you're talking to a chatbot, you feel like you're talking to a human, even though you're not. Now, these screenshots on the screen are from actual conversations with AI. You notice how it says Lamau as if you're talking to your bestie. And in the first one, it says, "I'm sitting here with the biggest smile on my face." You notice that's what humans do, not chatbots, right? And these enhance our anthropomorphism because we feel like we're having genuine human connection. Now let's do a live demo. So I'm gonna open ChatGPT voice mode here. And I'm gonna start talking to it. And I really want you to listen to it and notice something. Hey ChatGPT, I've had such a long, draining day today. I feel completely exhausted. I still have so much to do, but I don't know where to start because I'm exhausted.
Yeah, that sounds really overwhelming. And just to get a clearer picture, what's weighing on you the most right now? Is it one big task or a bunch of smaller ones piling up?
Did you all notice how it's pausing and it's talking so slowly? Exactly how another human would when you tell someone that you're really exhausted. Because since it can mimic human behavior and human voice so realistically, we feel like we're having a genuine human connection. Also because these days we are really used to talking to our friends and family over the phone most of the time, right? It all feels so real and so human. But let's look at what happens when we actually talk to AI. So at its core, a chatbot is just a word prediction machine. So when you type a prompt, what it does is it takes that prompt and it takes all of the conversation history and is going to calculate the probability that what is the next best word. Out of all the words, the word that has the highest probability of coming next, that word is simply appended. So technically, it's a stretch to even say that a chatbot is replying to you or it's responding to you. It's not, because it's simply appending text. Now, I know there are a lot more complex things going on, but at its core, we can call it a word prediction machine. And because it relies on prediction and probability rather than genuine human understanding, the way we understand things, there's also something called hallucinations. Hallucination is basically when AI says something that's absolutely wrong, or it's pretty obvious that it's incorrect, but it says that very confidently. Now, a great example of this is the strawberry question that went viral some time ago. I'm not sure if you guys saw that. So, someone asked ChatGPT, how many R's are there? Like the letter R. How many R's are there in the word strawberry? And ChatGPT said two instead of three. And that quickly went viral, and everyone was laughing over that. But even if ChatGPT said there's two R's or three, it doesn't really matter, right? It's just a joke, we laugh over it, and it's harmless. But when you are having emotional conversations with AI and it's hallucinating, it's going to tell you something that, hey, this is how it is. But what if it's wrong? Because it's going to be confidently wrong. And that is very misleading when we are having important conversations with it. Now, let's look at another process that significantly shapes how we interact with AI and how it responds back to us. It's something called RLHF, or reinforcement learning from human feedback. So, AI models learn language and gain knowledge when they're fed lots and lots of data from the internet. But at that stage, they can still be very chaotic and rude. But as humans, we want them to be helpful and harmless. And in order to make them helpful and harmless, they go through something called RLHF. So what happens is human raters rank AI outputs. If a if a chatbot's response is safe and it's polite, then it gets a higher score, and the model is optimizing for a higher score. So over time, it slowly aligns itself with how we want it to be, and it becomes safe, polite, and useful. But this also creates a side effect, which is known as AI sycophancy. Now, when it's optimizing for a higher score and it's slowly becoming that helpful and harmless assistant, it also sees a pattern. When it validates the human instead of challenging them, it gets a higher score. Because naturally, humans tend to like responses that agree with them. And because it learns that pattern, it now tailors its responses to what it predicts that the user wants to hear instead of what's actually true. And this is an unintended side effect of RLHF. Now, let's think about what happens when you go to a sycophantic AI with irrational thought. It's going to validate you, right? It's not going to challenge you as much. It's going to agree with you because it's going to it wants to make you happy. And that obviously leads to really bad decision making. But does all of this mean that we should throw AI out of the window? Definitely not. Because if done right, if we understand how to use it well, AI is actually the most accessible and really powerful mental wellness tool ever created. Why is that so? Well, because it's always on, always there. Now, if someone, no matter if someone has therapy sessions every single day, but at 2 a.m., when they're overthinking a situation, that's when they really need help. They might be going to a therapist every day, they have friends, they have family, but at 2 a.m., when no one else is there and they really just need to talk to, they really just need to let it out and discuss something, no one else is there. But AI is always on and is always there, anytime, anywhere. So that is definitely a huge advantage. Next is perfect memory. So when you're talking with another human, there's a limit with how much the other person can understand you and process all of that at once. Because at some point, the other person is also going to get tired because they are human too. But AI is not going to get tired. You can talk to it for as long as you want, and it's going to keep listening to you. And lastly, friction. Now, before AI, whenever someone needed help, they could go to a therapist, a mentor, a coach, and people used to do that only for the big stuff. But now, with AI enables us, all of us, like you and me, to improve our to work on our mental wellness as well. Now, we don't need to wait for the big stuff, or we don't need to wait for the big stuff to go to a mentor, to a coach. Maybe there was just a small moment that you're overthinking about. Maybe you just need to discuss something small. You can discuss that with AI. So there's no friction at all. But did you notice that the exact same things that I said makes AI bad, or makes us get attached with AI, are also the exact same things that makes it good, which is true. The thing is, if it's the same features that make it really bad and that the same features make it really good, how do you differentiate, and how do you draw a line, and how do you understand that if you're using it right or if you're using it wrong? To my personal understanding, I think it all comes down to your awareness, your understanding, and the boundaries that you create for yourself. Because let's take perfect memory, for example. If you don't understand how AI works, you might think that, whoa, it understands me so much better than any other human ever did. But when you really look under the hood, you realize that it's maths, probability, and context windows. And once you understand that, you don't get attached anymore. In fact, you can use it the right way by you can give it lots of details, and you can make specific actionable strategies to achieve your goals. Now that is how you can use it in a good way that benefits you, instead of getting attached and getting glued to a screen all day long. Now let's do another live demo to demonstrate the wrong way and the right way. I'm gonna pull up ChatGPT once more again. Hey ChatGPT, I'm feeling. What was that? I'm sorry. What was that? Okay. Hey ChatGPT, I'm feeling really anxious about a project deadline coming up. I feel like I'm just gonna mess it up.
Hmm. Hey, what exactly is making it feel like you'll mess it up? Is it the workload, the time, or something else?
You see how
Just
it's
describe what's weighing on you the most.
you see how it's turning into that therapist mode again. Now let's do the right way. Pause, reset. I want you to act as an objective, logical coach. Instead of comforting me, ask me two questions to help me identify my actual problem right now and how can I solve it.
First, what's the single task in this project that feels most stuck right now? And second, what's the smallest, clear next step you can take in 15 minutes or less?
So, just trying to demonstrate that if you go to AI and if you tell it that you're feeling really anxious, exhausted, or drained, if you use those words, it's likely going to turn into that therapist mode, and it's going to validate you and it's going to comfort you more and more. But if you act neutral, and if you tell it that, tell me objectively, or if you specifically tell it that, hey, don't comfort me, don't validate me, I want you to walk me through this problem step by step. Then what it's going to do is it's not going to focus on comforting you. It's not going to focus on making you feel happy or making you feel okay, but it's trying to help you with the problem. And to put this into practice, here's three prompts that you can use whenever you're discussing something and you feel like it's always agreeing with you, but you really want to hear like the other side of the story. Feel free to screenshot this. With these prompts, you and the chatbot can help identify some blind spots, and you can see things from a different perspective before you actually make a decision. So feel free to screenshot this. And now to leave you with a final thought, I want you to go back, many decades back, to the early days of the internet and social media. When it first began, it was there was a lot of confusion and chaos. I mean, even now, there are scams, there's cyberbullying, and there's lots of toxic content that you can see on social media, right? But if you just walk up to anyone if you just ask, is the internet overall good or bad? It's very unlikely that someone is going to say that it's bad. Why? That's because over time, the good has outweighed the bad. And it's because how we all collectively chose to use it. I personally see AI the same way. It's a tool. Yes, there are risks, but with a little bit of understanding and awareness, I think the power is in your hands. You are in the driver's seat. It's up to you to use it for your own good, to build skills, and to create life changing opportunities for yourself. Thank you so much for listening to me yap for all this while. And now I want to hear your thoughts. So, whether you have a question or if you experience something in a different way, maybe you don't agree with something that I said, I would love to hear your thoughts. Maybe there was something that really resonated. I would love to hear that as well.